ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So in the previous shloka we saw how in the position of self-realization one sees everything in the proper perspective. One has a proper perception of things as they are. That is the meaning of self-realization. Say for example, in Bhagavad Gita, if you find, it is said very clearly, one who is self-realized, who is equipped with proper understanding and knowledge, vidya vinaye sampanne brahmane gavi hastini Shunikeva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. A self-realized soul, a learned man, his perception is completely changed. He sees with a different vision. When he sees a Brahmana, when he sees a Pandita, when he sees a cow, when he sees a dog or a dog eater, he sees them with proper understanding and vision. Pandita Samadarshina. He does not see their outer covering. He sees that a Brahmana today is a Brahmana because of his karma. The spirit soul, even though it has taken the body of a Brahmana, and somewhere else the spirit soul has taken the body of a dog, but the spirit soul is of the same quality. Unfortunately, because of karma, they have taken different body. So, he does not see the outer covering. Just like very simple. If I see you, red shirt, white shirt, black shirt, it is not proper, isn't it? So, one has to see with proper perspective, and that is possible with self-realization. And that self-realization, when one sees with proper perspective, one becomes indifferent to material existence. So not only there is proper perception, one becomes indifferent to material attachments, material things, material objects, material affection. One becomes indifferent to all of them. Why? He realizes the spirit soul, myself, I have nothing to do with matter. So he becomes indifferent. Then what happens? The influence of material nature becomes slackened by the mercy of the Lord. The modes of material nature do not trouble him anymore. It becomes slackened. The grip of material nature becomes slackened. That is, this is the position of self-realization as explained by Lord Kapila. So in today's verse, Lord Kapila is explaining the process to attain this state of self-realization. How can one come to this state of self-realization where the grip of material nature has become slackened and he sees everything with proper perspective, right perspective. He has become indifferent to matter. He has realized I am part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. How does one come to this Brahma Siddhi? This position is called Brahma Siddhi. Perfection in self-realization. As you can see in today's verse, Yoginam Brahma Siddhaye. One attains perfection in self-realization. How does one attain this perfection? That is explained. Na yujyamanaya bhaktaya. Without being engaged in devotional service. If one is thinking, I will attain Brahma Siddhaye, I will attain perfection in self-realization with jnana, I will try to understand through the Vedic literatures what is self-realization, I will read through the Vedas, and with my own intelligence I will try to understand what is Brahman, what is God, I will attain self-realization. No, he cannot attain perfection in self-realization. He may have some understanding, partial realization, but not perfection in realization. That is very important. With jnana, one can become renounced. One can come to the understanding, Aham Brahmasmi. I am spirit, soul, I have nothing to do with matter. But that is only partial understanding. That is not perfection of Brahma Siddhaye. It is not perfection of self-realization. So, na yujyamanaya bhaktaya. Without being engaged in devotional service, it is not possible. Next will be, okay, we have to practice devotional service. Then one may think, what is the object of devotional service? It may be very much possible, object of devotional service can be Brahman. Just like you will find this actually, so many of these Mayavadis, they also show lot of devotion, isn't it? You will find, they will also be chanting Ram Nam, they will be chanting, but they will be Pakka Mayavadis. You see? So, one may think devotion can be to something impersonal, or according to their understanding, devotion is actually subservient. It is a step leading to the final goal. So now I may imagine some form of Brahman because it is little practical. It is difficult, they think. Kleshodhikataras tesham avyakta sakta chetasam. To meditate on avyakta, impersonal form of God, is very difficult. So what do they think? So it is better, it is easy to practice devotional service to some form of God. And they prescribe some 5 forms. Not only Krishna. They will say you can practice devotion to Surya Dev, you can practice devotional service to Ganapati, like this. So they have their own conception that right now it is very difficult for us to meditate on Avyakta because we are confined in a form. So better to concentrate on form, better to practice some kind of devotion to the form. And then from this we will become formless. From form we have to go to formless. From name we have to go to nameless. From worship we have to go to no worship. All these things, that is their conception. You see. So that misconception is very clearly explained here. Devotion is not to something your imagination. Not only that, this is the understanding of the people who are practicing some kind of spiritual lines at least. But there are materialists. They are also very devoted. But they are devoted to their household life. Somebody is devoted to his wife. Somebody is devoted to his children. Somebody is devoted to his society. Somebody is devoted to his country. Desh Bhakt, Matra Bhakt, Pitra Bhakt, isn't it? All different kinds of bhaktis. So actually, devotional service is neither to Brahman, nor in that sense actually even to Paramatma. Because Paramatma one may admire, but devotional service does not begin there actually. Devotional service begins when one engages his senses in practical service to the Lord. And that is possible only with Bhagavan, Bhagavati. So here it is said, Bhagavati, na yujyamanaya bhaktaya, to whom? Bhakti to whom? Bhagavati, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one has to practice devotional service, not to some formless, not even to Paramatma, not to anything of this material world, material objects, but to Bhagavati. And who is that Bhagavati? Can some ordinary person be Bhagavati? That is also being qualified here. What is the qualification? Anybody? What is the meaning of that? Akhilatmani. What is the meaning? Who is that Bhagavati? Who is that Supreme Personality of Godhead? Garudadeja, what is the meaning of Akhilatmani? Yes. One who is the super soul of one and all, everything. He is the super soul of everything. Akhila, Atmani, Akhila means anything in existence, everything in existence. He is the super soul of everyone. To that Supreme Personality of Godhead, one should render devotional service. Actually, if you see, similarly, very beautifully, Rupa Goswami defines what is bhakti. This is actually the meaning of devotional service. Vaishnava's concepts are crystal clear, no ambiguity. Not that bhakti can be practiced to anybody. Bhakti can be to Durga, bhakti can be to Shiva, bhakti can be to Ganapati, anything. Isn't it? That is their misconception people are having. I am Durga Bhakta, I am Shiva Bhakta. No, Bhakta and Bhakti is only to Bhagavan. You see, that has to be understood. What is that definition given by Srila Rupa Goswami about Bhakti? Rupa Goswami gives definition of Bhakti. Anya abhilashita shunyam. He defines what is the meaning of Bhakti. Bhakti cannot be practiced that you are having all kinds of material desires and then still you are thinking I am Bhakta. No. That is Mishrit Bhakti. That is not pure Bhakti. Anya abhilashita shunyam. All other kinds of desires have to be negated completely to zero. Not all desires. Desire to serve the Supreme Lord, those desires are required. Isn't it? Anya abhilashita. All other desires which are not favorable to the Supreme Lord, those desires have to be made zero. Anya abhilashita shunyam. Specifically he says, jnana karma anad. Beginning with jnana, karma, all these things. Anavratam, they have to be completely removed from devotional service. Then, anukulyena krishnanushilanam, and it has to be practiced practiced favorably to the Supreme Lord, not even unfavorably. Kamsa is not a bhakta. He is also thinking about God. He is also God conscious. But he is not a bhakta. It is not anukul. Anukulyena. Moreover, Rupa Goswami defines, don't think bhakti can exist just in your heart. Krishna Anushilanam. Anushilanam means it has to be cultivated. It is, cultivation means there are some activities. Not that I have bhakti in my heart. Yes, bhakti is there in the heart and bhakti is there in senses. Bhakti is there in all our activities. Isn't it? Prabhupada gives an example. If somebody says, I love you very much in my heart. No. Love has to be expressed in activities. Isn't it? If I love you, then I will gift you something, I will give you something. There is some transaction. There is some exchange of love. Isn't it? Dadati, pratigranati. All this is exchange of love. Different activities. So you can see how beautifully Vaishnava's understanding is about devotional service. Crystal clear, no ambiguity. What is devotional service to the Lord? So here also if you see how every word is a qualified word. Bhagavati, it is to be practiced. It is to the Supreme Personality of God. And who is that Bhagavati? Akhilatmani. He is the super soul of everything in existence. To that Supreme Lord, one has to practice devotional service. Then, Sadrasho asti Shivaha Pantha Yoginam Brahma Siddhaye. And devotional service to the Lord, it is the most auspicious path. Now Prabhupada very beautifully explains, let me see how many of you heard in today's purport. Prabhupada is giving the understanding why it is considered to be most auspicious path. Some very interesting points Prabhupada makes. How does one understand it is very auspicious path? Satya Govinda, what is your understanding? How do you think it is most auspicious path? Mathuresh, try. How do you think it is most auspicious path? Nishkinchana? Because it cleanses the heart. Now, from today's verse, in this relation to this verse, and in relation to the earlier verses, in the purport, Prabhupada explains that. Yes. Very good, very nice. It is very auspicious path. It is so auspicious, you don't require to cultivate separate jnana, you don't require to cultivate separate vairagya. Just by practicing devotional services, it is so auspicious, jnana and vairagya will automatically follow. You see? What is that verse? In Bhagavatam, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayat Ahetukam. So Jnana and Vairagya, automatically it comes. Actually, if you see in the second chapter of Bhagavatam, where it is explained, there, that is why Bhakti is considered to be parodharma. Savai pumsam parodharma Yathor bhakti radhokshaje. It is not ordinary dharma, it is para dharma. Because it is so auspicious. It is meant for the whole humanity. Savai pumsam, for all mankind. When the question was asked by the sages of Naimisharanya to Suta Goswami, please explain to us the most auspicious path. The path which can be followed by one and all. Right? So then, this is Suta Goswami's reply. He says, yes, Savai pumsam paro dharmo. The most important duty, the most important dharma for the whole of mankind is simply to take to devotional service of the Supreme Lord. And if one takes to devotional service, don't worry about anything else. Jnana, Vairagya, everything will follow. And not very delayed. Not very late. Janayati ashu vairagyam. Ashu. It will be immediate. You see. So that is why it is considered to be very, very auspicious path. There are few more important points Prabhupada explains in today's purport. One important point which Prabhupada explains is, unless one attains realization of the transcendental form of the Lord, there is no question of bhakti. See, this is another very important thing. Because we are saying bhakti is the most auspicious path. Bhakti is the only means by which one can attain Brahma Siddhaye, complete perfection of self-realization is attained only by devotional service. Then the conclusion is Bhagavati, Akhilatmani. It has to be dovetailed to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What does it mean? It means that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has form. This misunderstanding of Mayavadis, Nirvisheshavadis, that everything is Shunya, the Supreme Lord, the Brahman, the Supreme Brahman has no form, it is very misleading. Because, see, there are two very interesting points Prabhupada makes, conclusions from this. How Prabhupada derives conclusion. One conclusion is, other processes are imperfect. Because Brahma Siddhaye, if you have to attain perfection in self-realization, it's only through devotional service, correct? That means jnana and other processes, yoga and other processes, they cannot, through them you cannot attain Brahma Siddhaye. So they are not, they are only partial processes to make you get partial realization, not complete realization of the absolute truth. Correct? So, two things. One is, if devotional service is the highest, through which you can attain Brahma Siddhaye, then it is concluded the Supreme Lord has a form. And that is the ultimate realization of the Supreme Truth. And that is what Prabhupada is explaining in today's purport. Very clearly from this verse we can understand Brahman realization is partial, Paramatma realization is partial, realization of the form of the Supreme Lord, that is complete realization. Because bhakti cannot be practiced without form. It is not possible. Bhakti cannot be possible without having the form. So Bhagavan has to be there, the Supreme Lord having form. And Bhakta who practices. So Sevya, the Supreme Lord who receives our seva, and Sevak, one who offers his seva, both are important. So Bhagavan, Bhakta and Bhakti. These three are very essential component of this realization. So automatically, if bhakti is the highest, then there is bhakta, there is Bhagavan, and this process is the highest process. That means the Supreme Lord has a form, devotee also has a form, and he renders devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is these people's understanding? That also Prabhupada explains very nicely. These Mayavadas and this Buddhist who are thinking that actually we have to get nirvana from this material world. They are thinking Aham Brahmasmi, this shloka which they chant, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. Actually, this is not a complete realization. This is a beginning of realization. So Prabhupada gives a very wonderful example to explain this. You are in a diseased condition of life. You are having fever, right? Getting rid of feverish condition of life is just the beginning. It is not the end. Your fever is over. That is just the beginning of your normal life. Your normal life has not begun just because your fever is over. That is not the perfection of your normal life. How? So Prabhupada gives three very interesting understanding. You have to become feverless. Later you have to gain strength. Yes, correct? Just fever is over, is that enough? Because of the fever, your whole strength was completely gone. Now you have to regain your strength. Just your fever is over, you will regain your strength. You have to eat nice food, nutritious food you have to eat. Then you will regain your normal strength. You have to get your good appetite back. When fever was there, your appetite was finished. You thought eating means, oh, I cannot eat. Correct? Once your fever is over, you will regain your appetite. You will start eating healthy foods. And then your normal activities will begin. See how many things are there. Not that fever is over, finish, ho gaya. Am Brahmasmi, self-realized. No. Now only your material fever is over. You are not the material body, you have realized. Very good. That is just the beginning. So then you have to understand, normal activities have to begin. My hunger, my appetite for devotional service, all these things we have to regain. And then normal activities means devotional service. That has to begin. And what is this Buddhist conception? Prabhupada explains that also very nice. Buddhist conception means, Prabhupada gives a simple example to understand. You are living in a house. Okay. So let us say, you tell people, take away the door. Somebody you call, take away the windows. Take away the roof. Take away the fans. Take away. Everything you take away. So then you say, house has become zero. Isn't it? Brick has fallen down and it has become one with the brick. No more house. House is zero. So they think like this. Nirvana means dismantling matter. I am encaged now in this matter. I have to dismantle this matter. Earth should go back to earth. Water should go back to water. Fire should go back to fire. So they think this is called nirvana. They can never understand the conception. I can be in nirvana position even while staying inside. Isn't it? Just like the Prime Minister of country can be inside the jail and he is still beyond the jail because he comes for a different purpose in the jail. He is not affected by the laws of the jail. It's not that when he has come to the jail, he'll also be beaten with a lathi. Isn't it? No. Different laws are working on him, even though he has come to the jail. So these people have no understanding. One can be liberated even while living in this body. They cannot understand. They think it has to be dismantled. This is their misunderstanding. You see. So similarly, Mayavadis, what is their misunderstanding? So these people think Nirvana means Shunya. Everything has to merge into Shunya. So then they are thinking no house, no more activity. They are thinking like this. Everything is gone. Mayavadis, they are little one step ahead. They are saying, no, not exactly Shunya, but it is impersonal. Yes, this material world, this is illusion. This is all nonsense. Jagat Mithya, Brahman Satya. That Brahman you have to become situated. But that Brahman is also something like Shunya only. No activity. It is impersonal Shunya. It's practically as good as Buddhist understanding. Buddhist understanding is, I am existent because of whatever, all these things, and I lose all these things, so no more existence, they think. Mayavada means existence is there, impersonal, I will exist. This is their misunderstanding. So today's verse we can find very clear explanation. What is Brahma Siddhaye? Brahma Siddhaye is not all these things. Brahma Siddhaye means one has to practice devotional service to Bhagavati Akhilatmani. That is Brahma Siddhaye. So we'll stop with this. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.